Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for coming to Catapult tonight. You know, you all being here tonight not only shows your support for Catapult, but it also shows your support for entrepreneurship and for small businesses and startups here in Lakeland. So how about a round of applause for all of you showing up as a way of me getting your attention so we can begin the evening. See what I did? See what I did? All right. Well, tonight is an exciting night. We have been waiting for this event for the past couple of months, and we're so glad we're finally here. Tonight is Catapult's launch pitch night event, where 5 finalists are vying for $10,000 in a microgrant to help their business. So it's a very exciting night. And if you give me a moment, I just want to talk about who we are. If you haven't been to Catapult before, Catapult exists to foster an environment for founders to grow scalable businesses through expert advice, shared equipment, funding, and relationships. We have an amazing network of entrepreneurs here at Catapult to foster that network. We have experts in residence, entrepreneur residents, technical advisors for that expert advice. We have state-of-the-art and commercial-grade equipment. And then tonight is an example of the funding that we can provide here at Catapult as well. So a very exciting night. Under this 40,000 square foot facility, we have 3 distinct spaces. We have a maker space for engineering and manufacturing businesses. We have a fully permitted commercial kitchen for restaurants and for consumer packaged good businesses. And we have a well thought out workspace for a myriad other businesses that can grow and launch out of Catapult. Catapult started as an experiment in 2014 at the Bank of America building, and at the end of that first year, we found that there was a community of entrepreneurs here in Lakeland looking to be a part of a community. And along with that growth of that entrepreneur community, the financial institutions in Lakeland also saw a gap in that some of our entrepreneurs and small businesses here in Lakeland were too new to really qualify for bank loans, but they still wanted to help out. So they pooled their money together and through Catapult, facilitating this micro grant that we now offer today. Over the years, the winners or the recipients, I should say, of this grant have gone on to gain national exposure for their brands, launch into brick and mortars, and to lead 7-figure businesses here out of Lakeland. And I am thrilled to say that over the past almost 10 years of our existence, we have provided almost $400,000 in microgrant funding to Lakeland-based businesses. So with that, let me explain how tonight unfolds. We began about 2 months ago with an application process. We sent that out all over Lakeland. We got a whole bunch of applications back, and they were all submitted to our judges. Our judges went through them all and selected 5 finalists who you will see here tonight. Earlier today, those 5 finalists participated in a closed-door session with our judges, where the judges got to know their businesses a little bit better. And now we're here at step 3 for our pitches and Q&As. Our founders tonight will be given 8 minutes to pitch for the purchase of an asset that will directly lead to growth in their business. All right? They have 8 minutes to do that. After that, our judges will have 5 minutes for a Q&A. Now, if you all are hearing the pitches and you think of a great question, I want you to hold that inside. I want you to write it down, take a note. Please don't forget it, but the judges have first dibs at the 5-minute Q&A, okay? We will then excuse our judges once we've heard from all 5 finalists. They will go deliberate in our soundproof booth, and it's soundproof. I've tested it. No. And then we'll bring them back, our finalists up for a panel discussion, and that's when you all get to ask questions about their businesses so you can get to know them a little bit better. So please take those notes, remember those questions. That way during our panel discussion, you remember what they are, and we can have a lively discussion. All right? Sound like a plan? Excellent. Well, none of this could happen without the contribution of our financial institutions. And to kick that off, our financial institutions send a representative, or they ask us to find an entrepreneur or a local business owner to represent them. And so at this time, I would like to provide an opportunity for our panel to introduce themselves to our audience. And we'll start with someone who is on our panel, but isn't actually judging. Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. My name is Kristen Strawbridge, and I work for Catapult. I am making literally 0 decisions tonight, but my job is to wrangle them into making decisions. So it's very exciting.
Hi there. My name is Cameron Brock. I'm with Mid-Florida Credit Union. I'm Senior Vice President, Commercial Lender.
Hi, I'm Randy Holland with Bank of Central Florida, Senior Vice President, Commercial Lender as well.
I'm Jeremy Brumley, founder of Lovebird, almost famous chicken here in Lakeland, and excited to be wrangled here tonight.
And I'm Patrick Fagan. I'm a commercial lender with Citizens Bank and Trust.
How about a round of applause for all of our judges and our financial institutions who make this whole night possible? Thank you all for being here. Now, before we go any further and before we get into tonight's events, I just want to say that, well, Mark Twain said it best. He said there are 2 kinds of public speakers, those who are nervous and those who are lying. It is very difficult to present in a public forum like this. None of our finalists here tonight have started a public speaking business. So we need you all to show them some love, all right? For having the courage to get up here in front of a room full of strangers to do this, I think we can all say it's a little bit intimidating. So while they're presenting and you're taking notes for that Q&A session that comes a little later, when they're about to wrap up, I want you to picture your favorite band, all right? Your favorite band playing your favorite song. They hit that final chord, they hit the button of their song, and you erupt into applause. Give me an example of what that may sound like. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, that's the kind of love and support that these entrepreneurs need and would greatly appreciate after going through all the hard work of putting these presentations together. Does that sound like a deal? All right, at this time, please take a moment to silence your cell phones. Nobody wants to be that person that the bald guy makes fun of for their ringtone going off, because I will. So take a moment now. It's nerve-wracking enough to give a presentation, and we don't need a Backstreet Boys ringtone going off in the middle of the presentations, all right? Who wants me to stop talking and get this show on the road? I can read a room. I can read a room. All right. Well, at this time, I am proud to present our first finalist for the evening. This gentleman is the head chef and the CEO of Plates on Deck. Please welcome Ken James.
Oh, you can keep going. I like that. Good evening. Oh, thank you. I like you, sir. I got some cornbread in the back for you. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? I am Chef Ken, CEO of Plates on Deck, home of Eclectic Soul Food. Some of you might be wondering, what in the world is Eclectic Soul Food? Let me break it down for you. It's love, skill, passion on a plate. Any meal or any moment surrounded by food that gives you an emotion of comfort, warmth, and love, a meal created with emotion, that is soul food. Doesn't matter if you're down here in Lakeland, Florida, or if you're somewhere else across the seas in Europe, the hills of France, whether you're in South America, it doesn't matter. If you create a meal with love and it's for the people you care about, that's Eclectic Soul Food. All right, a little more about Plates on Deck. We're a family-owned business. We started in 2019 back in New York. A little thing called COVID happened, so we decided to pack up our blended family and come on down to Orlando. We opened up in August of 2020, started with our seafood boils and Uber Eats, catering, and private chef services. And over the 3 years of growth, we decided to come a little bit west and put down some roots right here in Lakeland. And we joined Catapult, which is amazing. I like that. Woo, you're right. Catapult has been a great space for us. We've been able to build a steady following and some real buzz. And we were actually greatly honored to be voted as one of the top 3 best soul food restaurants right here in Lakeland, which is amazing. I actually like to say we are the #1 soul food restaurant without a brick and mortar yet. An emphasis on the yet, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And just a little bit more about what we offer. We have an expansive menu of eclectic soul food where we fuse my favorite items from different cultures, whether that be something like our pasa pasa pasa, which is a very resembles a jerk Alfredo. We do jerk shrimp egg rolls, our Cajun crab cakes. These are all things that are very popular on our menu and some of our best sellers. We also do farmers markets like the Lakeland Farmers Market right here, Winter Haven Market, and other pop-up events between here and the Orlando area. We also offer private chef services, and we do pop-ups right here at Catapult, which you can come see us this Sunday for a brunch from 1 to 4. Come sample our peach cobbler French toast, our crab cakes, honey bourbon shrimp, mac attack, and things like that. It'll be a great time. And then that brings us to what we're looking for. We're asking to help our market menu grow, to have a much better stove. We're looking for a 60-inch commercial outdoor stove, which will take us from 2 sad little camp chefs to an 8-burner professional stove, so that we can not only double the capacity of food that we can prepare, but also be able to keep our ticket times down so that people are served the best quality food in the fastest possible times. That also leads us to our next item, which is our 5x8 utility cargo trailer, which will allow us to not only move our equipment safely, but it will also allow us to bring more product to keep up with the increasing demand, so that we're not selling out like we've noticed in the past few months, where we're selling out well before the conclusion of an event, which leaves money on the table, unfortunately. And then also, third and lastly, we're looking for an Ego Power Plus mobile generator, which will give us electricity to expand the menu, starting including some of our other signature items like our POD fries, our City Island shrimp, and things like that that require electricity, as well as moving into festivals and night markets, being able to provide electricity for light and other things needed for that. And if you're asking why these items, as you can see, the yellow chart lets you know that we are growing steadily, but if we can go ahead and increase the rate at which we can grow, these items are surefire way to do that. And we are indeed ready to be committed to paying it back. We have a strategy and a plan to make 6 quarterly installments starting in Q2 of next year, which will allow us to pay back in full 1 full quarter early. And then you may ask, what is the Plates on Deck big picture? Well, we're looking to set roots right here in Lakeland by purchasing a piece of commercial property that will be what we will call affectionately the pod. No pun intended, or all pun intended, but that's going to serve as the hub of all of our services, which is 1, our bread and butter, the commercial kitchen for our catering services. We're going to also have a space for takeout for lunches and breakfasts, which are very popular here in the Lakeland area for businesses. And then we are also looking to have a space dedicated to creating an environment to teach the next generation of culinary entrepreneurs through cooking lessons and training. The lessons will be geared toward fathers, which I am a father of 6. Yeah, I heard it. You're right. It's not easy, but it's amazing, and it's most certainly worth it. We're looking to provide a space where dads can bring their children and have unique bonding moments, all while learning a skill that will make them marketable here in the marketplace. And I have to say thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It is an absolute pleasure. Again, I am Chef Ken with Plates on Deck, head chef and CEO, home of Eclectic Soul Food. And now I will open the floor to questions from the panel. And if you're wondering what that smell is, that is our honey bourbon shrimp, our honey vanilla cornbread, and our 5-cheese mac attack. Just a little sample here to get the judges' taste buds flowing.
Ken, where did you learn to cook and what inspired you to get into the restaurant business?
That is a great question. I was inspired to cook just watching the heads of my life as a child, my mom, my grandmother, and my father, who all have a love of being in the kitchen. My grandmother was actually a dietitian for a nursing home for about 40 years. My mom makes some of the best smothered pork chops, white rice, and sweet peas. And just those moments surrounded around food as a kid that brought me so much joy. It's been my life mission to pass that along to others.
Well, obviously Cameron's asking all the nice questions. I was going to get back into the P&L. Okay, yeah, now I'm the bad guy. No, I'm just kidding. So I see on the profit and loss statement, there's two prime costs in our business, and obviously one is cost of goods, but the other is labor, and I don't see labor as a part of this. So is it safe to assume that the P&L that you're presenting is either one, are you not paying yourself out of this currently, or is it just not represented in here?
I'm not currently taking a paycheck, and thankfully I have a wonderful labor force of children who I can pay in food.
Right.
So that's how we're able to keep the cost down.
So when you get the brick and mortar, then we'll have to get the HR department.
We'll
with the
definitely have an HR
I'm just kidding,
department, and we actually just set up payroll through
Okay, great.
QuickBooks.
And Chef, remind us again the story behind the name.
Yes, actually, Plates on Deck is a name that I came up with before we actually even officially got into business. Plates on Deck is meant to be both elegant and versatile. We're plates on deck everywhere from the ball game to the yacht deck. We're on deck.
And what brought you to Lakeland from Orlando, and how did you find Catapult?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. We found Catapult because my wonderful fiance and partner, Ziamara, is a proud Florida Southern alumni. And with that, we looked at the Lakeland area, especially because Lakeland is charted to be one of the next major foodie destinations in the country.
One more question. With the addition of the equipment and then the graph showing the projected growth in revenue, would you have to bring on more labor for that? Or do you think that internally you could use the staff you currently have to accommodate?
I think that currently we're able to use the staff we have, but of course the goal is to scale the team and hire more staff.
And do you have any kind of predetermined trigger before you start thinking about bricks and mortar in your space? Is there a revenue number? Or what in your mind is going to trigger you that you're solid enough to go ahead and take a dive into a real estate deal?
That is funny you asked that. We've currently identified a piece of property and are always open to investors to help us acquire said asset, i.e. hello. But we are actively looking to grow the business and scale. But we want to make sure that we make the right move so that we're not jumping too fast and then fall backwards.
And that is the ultimate goal, is to get brick and mortar.
Absolutely, to have the brick and mortar, much like that container idea right there. Thank you all very much.
All right. Well, speaking of food, I also want to say a huge thank you, and I hope you all enjoyed some of our appetizers that we had out there. That was on behalf of Dominic's Scratch Italian. Yes. Yeah. So if you enjoyed it, I am sure that he would love a 5-star Google review. So please take your handout home so you can find Dominic's Scratch Italian. You can give him a 5-star Google review. If you have some feedback for Dominic, you can write that on the back of a $50 bill and pass it to me, and I'll make sure he gets that later. All right. So also, some of you have been to our pitch night before. I'm recognizing some faces. And after COVID happened, we had a little bit of a surplus in our funding. That no longer exists. So some of you in the past have seen nights where all 5 people might have been funded. Maybe you've seen them where 3 have been funded. That's not necessarily going to happen anymore. I know we got used to that a little while ago, but tonight, anything can happen, all right? So not necessarily everybody is going to be funded like maybe you've seen in the past. But who's ready for our next presenter? Let's keep it going. At this time, please welcome Jessica and Nicholas from Swan City Ceramics.
Hello, I'm Jessica and this is Nick, and we are Swan City Ceramics. We make functional pottery. All of our pieces are individually thrown on a wheel by us, and we make all of our glazes from raw materials. Our first focus is functionality. We make everything with the intention that people will use it every single day. We also focus on making our products as accessible as possible. So we keep our prices competitive, and we also offer items at lower price points. We want to bring awareness to environmental impact caused by everyday consumer items. It's our focus to serve as an alternative to single-use, mass-produced, or plastic products that are made from harmful materials. We make everything right here in Lakeland. We stamp the bottom of each piece with "Made in Florida." We know that our business is a representation of our art, but we also want it to represent our state and American craftsmanship. That's why we strive to make the best product possible. Now, here are some examples of items that we make currently. We have citrus juicers, butter bells, planters, chip and dip plates, as well as charcuterie boards. This is just about half of what we offer right now.
So in the past 3 years, we've had an annual average growth in sales of 56%, and we're currently exceeding that for this year and will far surpass that after the holiday season. And here's a breakdown of our current revenue streams. In-person sales at markets makes up 75% of our total sales, followed by online orders and wholesale orders. And I want to briefly talk about how we're improving our current revenue streams. So right now, our online sales are mostly generated by our social media posts and our monthly email newsletter. But we're creating a year-round promotional calendar so that we can have a schedule for holiday sales and digital ad campaigns. And when it comes to the wholesale, we're working on building more relationships with retailers and outlets for wholesale. We want to be in the restocking business as well, and we plan to do that by creating a digital and physical wholesale catalog to send to prospective businesses. Currently, right now, we have 21 wholesale clients, 9 in Florida and 2 in Lakeland, Color Theory Tea and Botany Cats. In 2024, over the course of the year, we will launch our first subscription service, more than double our product line, and be generating ad revenue through our digital content. So we're just a couple of months away from launching our first subscription-based service, the Swan Mug Club. So subscribers will receive one exclusive themed product every quarter and access to exclusive discounts, promos, and content. And people will be able to buy a year subscription or pay by quarter. And we're also increasing our product line. Right now we have 31 products, and we plan to increase that by 75 by the end of the year, 2024. And we can do that by using different types of clay. So right now we only use white stoneware, which is food safe and microwave safe, but we're designing products to be made that are oven safe and also out of terracotta clay. Making oven safe items opens up an entire new product line for us, and we also have ideas for larger scale products like water features. And third, in 2024, we will be making ad revenue from our digital content. So over the past 12 months, we've spent many thousands of dollars transforming our pottery workspace into a live broadcasting studio. So you'll be able to watch and interact with us live as we create our products, and eventually we'll have a catalog of tutorial videos as well. So our setup essentially consists of 4 cameras, 3 microphones, and it's connected to a PC that we built that can broadcast in 4K on multiple platforms simultaneously. And we're scheduled to do our first live event next month. Right now we're at 50% of the required analytics for YouTube monetization, and we've accomplished that in the past 6 months. So we're confident that in less than 6 months, we will have reached 100% of the requirements to be fully monetized. As we build our digital content, we expand our online footprint and ultimately drive more product sales, but the content itself will also be generating revenue in 2024.
So here's our problem. Currently, we are firing with a kiln at the Polk Museum of the Art. We're renting it from them and restricted to their schedule, which is 2 firings a month. Now, after creating our products in our home studio, we pack them up carefully into boxes and then drive them from our home to the museum back and forth. Now, this is extremely tedious and time-consuming for us to do. On top of that, we pay for the electrical cost of the kiln and rental fees. We are also lacking a camera for our product photography. Taking high-quality photos for our website will improve our sales. It'll allow us to also create a wholesale catalog and begin digital ad campaigns. Having our own kiln will give us the ability to fire up to 8 times a month. It'll also eliminate our rental fees. Our turnaround time will improve from 1 month to 1 week, and then this will in turn reduce our overhead while quadrupling our production. The camera that we're asking for is compatible with our broadcasting studio, but will mainly be used for product photography. Improving the quality of our product images will increase our online sales and expand our customer reach. Having that accurate portrayal of our pieces online is essential for our growth. We can confidently commit to repaying 25% of any amount awarded to us back into the grant fund within 2 years. Now, the fact that we get to do what we love is amazing, but being able to do it together in love is a blessing. The idea that we can provide something useful and beautiful for everyone is ultimately why we do it. Thank you guys for the opportunity.
Jessica, what's your most popular product, and can you discuss what your price points are?
Yeah, our average price point is around $45. We do offer items lower at $20 or higher at $85. Most popular product is planters and mugs currently.
So with the kiln that you'll get, this will double your capacity of being able to fire. What is your capacity of making it on the pot, on the wheel, and how many products can you grow up to in capacity?
On a good day, I can throw about 100 pieces. So give or take. Obviously, it's an art form, so some days are wonky, but primarily every day I can throw 100 pieces.
And then currently, right now, y'all are around 500 products?
A month.
Roughly a month?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. And then one follow-up question. What is your subscription cost going to be?
It'll be essentially the cost of the 4 mugs or 1 mug that you would get for the quarter, plus whatever discount. We haven't figured out the exact price yet, but it'll be whatever discount we offer for the exclusive promos and content as well.
And I see the itemized list of things that you're requesting. I definitely understand the kiln and production, but on the 2,000 pounds of clay, like how many pieces? I'm very ignorant on it, but how many pieces is that? Does they give you like 6 months of material?
So essentially, like that mug, for instance, is about 1 pound of clay. So it would make 2,000 mugs, and like that mug costs, we sell it for $45.
So the 2,000 pounds does represent quite a significant
Yes.
profit margin for you.
So again, you could, if you're making 500 a month now, you could go to, with this kiln, you could go to 2,000 a month, right?
Yes,
And physically, you would be able to do that every day.
yes.
Okay.
Right now, we know our limitations, so we
Right.
fire what we can for those means of firing twice a month with the museum. If we could fire twice a week, 8 times a month, we can create that much product as well.
And the kiln can go right into your home, I'm assuming, no
Yes.
power required, no additional, I mean, I'm assuming there's venting as well, but like a dryer vent, very
Right.
simple to put in.
No, it would be pretty easy to set up.
So there'd be no additional impact or cost.
There would be no additional
associated
cost to
with
set it up, definitely.
And how many subscribers did you say you have on a YouTube channel now?
Well, we're 58% of the required amount, and we've accomplished that in the past 6 months.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we are planning in the next 6 months that have been fully met the requirements. Thank you.
All right. And the judges continue to deliberate. Moving right along, we are halfway through. Now, please welcome Mr. Robert Barraganza with Barraganza Furniture and Design. Robert.
Hi, everyone. I'm Robert Barraganza. This is well outside of my comfort zone, but here we go. So again, my name is Robert Barraganza. I have a small business. We're growing right here out of the Catapult Makerspace. And we design and produce high-end modern furniture that is typically sold through interior designers and architects. And this journey started about 5 years ago. I made a slight career change. I used to be a detective, and at the time, I set up a wood shop on my property as just a therapeutic hobby, just something to balance out the things I was seeing and just working with and dealing. And I stumbled into this creative talent that my whole life I didn't know. I would have always said I'm not creative. And when it showed up, I knew I had to follow it through. And so I left a secure paycheck and went all in. And here are a few examples of the pieces that we make. So this is actually the very first table, the very first design I made. And this was the one, right? I saw something. I didn't know I knew how to do that. And then this is made to measurement reading chair. Has the book stand. All of the chair is designed to a person's measurements. This is an executive desk for a local client's home office. The walnut with a Starfire glass, custom made glass slab on top, and some of the brass work that we bend with acetylene torched, hand polished. This is a recent dining table that we custom made to a commission for a client. You can see the brass pins holding the top floating above the table. And then another executive desk for an office in downtown Lakeland. And with the floating pieces again. And then our most recent delivery is a mobile cafe for Florida Southern. We designed to be a turnkey cafe for their entrepreneurial program, all the way from the components, the steel, the wood wrap, the design, creating that so their students can use that as a turnkey experience, all of the profit and loss and sales in that small business. And then what brings me here today, last year, we pivoted into including small home accessories and gifts. One thing with the commission pieces is that I am kind of a bottleneck in them, in that I can only create so many original designs in a year, and that's something that only I can do. But with the smaller home accessories and pieces, I can design the product, I can design the process, and then I can show help how to go through those steps. And so it's not necessarily limited to what I can personally produce. And you had a chance to open that. Okay. So, and some of the small accessories that we've made over the last year. If some of you saw the origami inspired swan ornament that we sold over the holiday season. And then this is like a gift presentation box. The two sides slide into each other, and there's a number of ways that they could be set up, kind of a sculptural object for a desk. And then an origami-inspired birdhouse. And then a small coaster design. And a new swan ornament. And during 2022, we put in a lot of time into learning the technology, the processes, into making these retail products. And we sold out of the 900 small retail products that we had made, and those were sold through our social media following, through boutique retailers, our Museum of Art, the gift shop for the Polk Museum, outdoor markets, and then we also had an Etsy store. Over the next 12 months, building on what we have learned, we're aiming to bring that number, the 900 we made, to about 3,500. And with the equipment we're asking for, we would be able to produce a wider range of pieces, also be able to make each of those pieces much more quickly. And with what we've learned from the last year and putting it into this year, with the progress we've made, we're on track to double last year's revenue at the end of this year, which will be at about 150,000. And then with the equipment we're asking for, I'm optimistic that we could do that again in 2024. And specifically what we're seeking is a production level, high temperature kiln that will allow us to heat, shape, and process a variety of metals, glass, and ceramic objects. And so, for example, with a brass tray that we've designed but we don't have the equipment for, we could set up, say, 60 of these and have those heated and formed in one production run. And then a small rapid prototyping kiln that would allow us to go through one of your samples. That's not all of the prototypes that went into creating the swan. So to get it to look just right, it may be 20, it may be 40 prototypes to go through, and being able to rapid prototype would be very valuable for creating these products. And then an arbor press that can go with die cutting plates that allow us to quickly cut out material into these shapes. Down in the makerspace, we have the ability to create these die cutting molds. And so with the press, we would be able to create what we needed. And then a benchtop grinding and polishing machine to take the products outside of the kiln, polish it, grind it, and have it ready to be sold. And then a compact polisher for those smaller parts. And that is the large production high temp kiln, and then the rapid prototyping very small kiln that will heat up much quicker, use much less energy, and just be able to get through that prototyping phase more quickly. The polishers, and then the arbor press for die cutting. And if you have any questions.
So Robert, all this is very exciting and interesting. The one thing we were having a difficult time is trying to figure out whether you're a retailer who does commission work or a commission guy that also does retail. And if there is a separation between the two, is there any advantage to creating the retail or the commission piece under a different brand and separating the two?
I think there could be value in that. I worry, though, that at the size of the business now, which is very small, if we were to separate it, the limited resources we do have in social media, in branding, and all of that, it could get further stretched. In the future, I could see that separation, but now I would worry for the resources.
But down the road, you see yourself as an Etsy retailer or a commissioned specialty high-end furniture designer?
So both.
Okay.
With the commissioned furniture, there is the bottleneck that, again, I can only make so many pieces. And so the longer that we're able to get the brand out there, the name and the recognition, the more there'll be the demand for that, and it will still be limited. Simultaneously, by creating these pieces, that side of the business is scalable. And I think the small pieces give awareness to the commissioned pieces, and these sculptural like furniture pieces give brand value to all of the small pieces. So when you're buying this little swan, it is a beautiful little swan. It's also a piece of these main pieces that are being created. I think they build each other.
And this kiln and the equipment that you're requesting today allows you to move away from Catapult, right? Because you're operating here right now.
I am operating out of Catapult.
Right, so this allows you to move out of Catapult. Have you located space yet for this new location?
So having this equipment, I think, will increase the trajectory of when we can leave Catapult. I chose a long journey, building up a designer brand that nobody asked for, and then bringing it out in front of the clients, in front of the world, and ramping up. So I would say with this equipment, it will speed up the time to gather all the rest of the equipment, the revenue, to build up the business in order to leave, but it won't be the exit point.
So on the retail side of that, what is your price point on the smaller products and what is the cost of those?
So on the smaller products, the idea is to keep them at maybe higher than what that average product would be if you bought it elsewhere, but trying to keep those prices low enough that they're accessible. And so for some of the products, the cost of materials, the cost to make it, like the coaster isn't too high. So if it was an individual $36 coaster, it has the scene on the back of it, it might be $2 in materials and not much more for the packaging. Than the Origami Swan being more labor intensive, even though it's only $1 in materials and $1 in packaging, being so time consuming. It has done so much to grow the brand. Alongside of that, this kiln is very much for those higher profit margin products that can be made more quickly, but still keeping the price accessible for a wider market.
So, yeah, I mean, Robert, the stuff's super cool, man. I wish I could afford some of it, but it's super nice and very talented. I think I understand that now. So it sounds like you want to generate another revenue stream inside the brand that's more approachable. Retail calls that, I think, loss leaders, where you're not making as much, but you hope they bring them in and they buy something down the road and you're creating that partnership. I think that's a smart piece of it. I guess the question I have is the equipment, because I look at it as like, you're kind of your craft is wood, and I see the brass, I see some elements, but is this equipment really just for like more brass and metals and glass? Is it are you trying to get more into that versus the wood, or?
Rather than versus, yes, there's the creativity doesn't end with wood products. It's just that's the equipment, that's where I got my start. That's the equipment we have. There's a wide variety of pieces that we could incorporate, and building toward the brand recognition as a designer brand of home products and furnishings. Right now, I think the awareness or the feel really is that it is a wood design business, because that is primarily what we have. Not because that's what we could do, but because it's what we have done. And so, yes, making it more widely known as a designer brand.
So the investment in the equipment is to really add more value to the wood business, by not necessarily just adding more tools to improve the wood business. You're doing this really to bring in other elements. Is that correct? Kind of like, this is not a lot of wood equipment, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. It's more of for the metals and the polishing and the glass and things that you're capable of doing that you just haven't been able to show.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, judges. All right, here we go. Moving along now, two gentlemen who are bringing something new to the market. Please welcome Matt and Mateo with Raka Shaka Prince.
All right. Hello, everybody, and good evening. My name is Matteo Zampese. This is my business partner, Matteo Agostinelli. And we recently graduated students from Florida Southern, and last year, we founded Raka Shaka Prince, a custom apparel brand that was born to provide initially custom apparel for clubs and organizations at school. And as we developed, we started to extend our focus a little bit outside the school and start serving local businesses around the Lakeland area. And we start seeing some problems that we could solve in the custom apparel industry. First being the minimum quantity orders. So to place an order with big companies, you typically have to meet a certain expense that average around $500. And this prevents small businesses that have a need of a couple of t-shirts for the employees or need a little bit of inventory for merchandise to place an order without spending a lot of money. The second problem was the long turnover time that these big companies and even online services need to fulfill like this type of orders. And whereas like printing some t-shirt is a pretty fast job. The third point is more an extra solution that we bring and regards funding of club and organization as well as festival and markets. So the two solutions is the first one, a print-on-demand subscription service, and the second one is something new that we are doing. It's a novelty in the screen printing industry, and it's a live printing service.
So as Mateo, So as Mateo had mentioned earlier, we do general screen printing just like our competitors do, but we also bring two new faucets of revenue, that being our subscription service as well as the live printing service. So to break down that subscription service for you, this is based on the renting of the screens. So when you do screen printing, each design, each color within that design that you want to print, you have to have a screen set up as well as the cost associated with setting that up. So our competitors, you're going to see that to be $20 to $25 per screen per color. So in this example, we've got a 3-color design. That would be $60 to $75 just starting out, let alone the cost for the shirts and the ink afterwards. This adds up over time, forcing those customers to then order in bulk instead of maybe the small quantity that they need. And this is where the subscription service works perfectly because we charge $5 per screen, as well as on top of that, when we print that screen, we preserve it. So whenever that customer needs that screen, it's ready to print within that week and we can turn over much faster. And then as for our live printing, this is a novelty to the industry, nothing that's really been done before. There's a few pioneers, but big thing we see with this is the margin. So to make these shirts, it's maybe $4 per shirt, but we can retail those shirts back for $20 to $25 per shirt. This is also great for fundraising, as Mateo had mentioned, because this is no cost to the host or the vendor, whoever we're working with. And as well as for us, being a screen printing provider, we already have blanks on the side. We have the screens ready. It's simply preparing the screens the night before and then printing at that event. So our general target market is going to be colleges as well as club sport teams for 2 reasons. These are consistently funded groups, as sporting is pretty popular around here, but colleges also are not going away anytime soon. And the other half of that is these are consistent orders. These guys have orders every single year, sometimes every single month, which is perfect for our subscription service model. And reaching these guys, typically like every other business, we do cold calls, in-person visits, but the nice facet with the live printing is we meet a lot of local vendors at these markets that maybe want to merchandise, get a chance to get their brand out further, but have run into that issue we brought up before to where it's just too expensive to get that apparel, those hats, shirts, you name it. And that's where we plug ourselves right in.
So we're 2 of us working on the company, me handling the printing and the graphic design side, and Matthew handling the business side. What is hindering our growth right now is the equipment we have and the workspace. We are in need of better and more efficient equipment, and we need a professional workspace because as of right now, we're still printing from our apartment. So What we're asking tonight is some machinery that we will need to scale our business. And first of all is a 4-station 6-arm press, which allow us to increase the number of color combination to do up to 6. And with 2 presses, we can also dedicate one to the in-house printing and one to the live printing without having one just rotating between the 2 systems. The second thing is a flash dryer, which this flash dryer will allow us to be more fast and efficient compared to the one we have. And time is kind of crucial for us because when we live print, we want to be providing the t-shirt to the customers immediately as soon as possible. The second 2 machinery on the list are a conveyor dryer and an exposure unit. We're actually missing those machinery and we're using alternative methods to finalize the cure on the t-shirt. And a conveyor dryer will allow us also to cure multiple t-shirts at the time to increase the volume of production. Right now we are finalizing the cure with a flash dryer and a heat press, so it's limited to 1 t-shirt per cure. The exposure unit we have right now is this one. It's a really DIY solution. It's a laundry basket, couple lights, and a piece of glass. It works fine. There's a lot of adjustment I have to do whenever I burn the stencil on the screen, and it's time consuming and it's not the best. So we would like to upgrade to a professional equipment. So speaking of growth, one year from now, we would like to have stable partnership with markets and festivals around Lakeland, around Florida in general, and having multiple mobile print shop to go to these various events and markets. For the subscription service, we would like to have at least 20 monthly subscribers. And something we are pretty excited about is a possible future partnership with Florida Southern to use both the space and offering internship, and that could be also job opportunities in the future to the students of Lakeland. Lastly, we would like to upgrade and get a professional workspace.
So to return to our investors, or to make that 25% real simple, we could do it 2 ways. One of which would be just general retail sales, which would just take $520 a month, which for reference, we've done about 2,000 just these past 2 weeks. But also we could roll it into our subscription service, which we would just need 5 clients with 5 screens, which again, for reference, we just started that service this month and we have 35 screens on subscription at the moment. So again, very feasible for our business, would not be an issue.
So in conclusion, to start scaling our business, we would like to have better equipment to be more fast, more productive, increase the volume, and have multiple print shops, starting to acquire them to scale our business and go to all the markets and festivals around Florida and possibly beyond. So we're pretty excited about this new system, live printing, because it's a novelty, again, in the industry, and we are kind of the first one that are pushing with it. Thank you.
How much capacity in products will the new equipment allow you to produce compared to what you're currently doing? You got a kind of a number estimate on that?
Yeah, so the biggest thing ideally is, like he'd mentioned, we are rotating between events and general printing, and so we don't have an exact number, but the idea is we could then target these markets every single weekend instead of trying to rotate based off our print schedule. Because currently, as I mentioned, we're general custom apparel, so we're doing orders already, but we need equipment to go hit these events while we're still doing orders. So that's kind of in the works, but that's the idea there.
And also this new press will have 4 stations, instead of 1 station. So we will be able to feed 4 t-shirts at a time and be much faster in production.
On the subscriptions, you have 35 screens currently. How many clients does that represent?
So that's a great question. That is just 2 clients. The biggest one being a sports team, Nova Athletics. They're a gymnast group around here. And just kind of hitting on that merchandising point, they specifically have 30 screens just to get their merchandising apparel out. And that's just our first run with them. We intend to do more. The other one is a local startup actually at Florida Southern. But again, he has an online store. We provide the subscription so he doesn't have to pay that $200, $300 up front. And again, just makes it cost effective.
So you spoke about the price of other subscriptions or other printing companies and what that costs. How are you able to do it at such a cheaper cost than they are?
So the biggest thing is that $20 to $25 screen charge. That's roughly what it costs to buy the screen itself. And I'm assuming, I don't know their business particularly, but the biggest thing with them is they need consistent orders throughout the year to maintain a profit, because ideally with the big box providers, that's all they're doing. It's just big orders at a time. So they need to constantly accumulate that sales back. But for us, we have the screens bought. We can also reclaim screens that we buy on Facebook for like $5. So it's really not a big cost for us to set everything up. It's just something the big guys use to kind of get more profit worked in.
Yeah, so I like the idea of doing something different with screen printing and going live. How many events do you think you could book between the two of you, or if you grow your team? But I mean, what do you think is reasonable in terms of those events? Let's say annually, or a month maybe, just make it easy.
I mean, honestly, technically, we could be going every weekend. Depends on the availability of the festival around here.
And that wouldn't compromise your time to do your subscription?
Yeah, I would say no.
And have you looked into Direct Garment, if you're doing those live events, and what the cost per?
So direct to garment would be a little bit more costly per print, the ink and also the maintenance of the printer, and also, in my opinion, is less theatrical in a way. So will probably attract less people. Instead of the press, is kind of nice to see how the t-shirts are done. And on top of that, DTG is also slower. So you need almost 5 minutes to print a t-shirt and cure it, whereas screen printing, we can do that in 1 minute, 1.5 minutes.
So you'd have better production efficiencies with the.
Yeah, also like the service. We're not gonna make the client wait 5 minutes for the t-shirt. Right. It's more direct with the screen printing.
Gotcha.
No more questions. I've had a round of applause for Rob. It's less theatrical, Jeremy. Less theatrical. It's all about the theater, all about the live experience. All right. Well, here we are with our final finalist. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for the CEO, Erica from Heartland Snack Company.
Thank you, Christian. Heartland Snack Company offers an elevated snack and specializes in a variety of roasted nuts with some very unique flavors. My name is Erica Scheipsmeyer, and I am co-owner with my husband, Anthony. We just celebrated our 30-year anniversary. Thank you. We have 2 adult children, one of which who is married to a beautiful young lady who's going to make us a grandparents next year. So we are so excited about that. We have been entrepreneurs in different capacities for about 20 years. We currently own an event venue and do all of our own concessions, so we've had some experience in the snack industry. Back in November, we went to visit our son in Montana and went to a craft show and tried the most amazing roasted nuts we had ever had. After a short conversation with the gentleman selling them, he said that he was coming to Florida that January, and long story short, he came in January and showed us how to make them to add them to our concessions. We had just become empty nesters in January, and we're trying to kind of figure out what's our next step, what are we going to do, where's our life going, and we decided to take these on the road. So we started going around to festivals and different places selling them, and literally would stop people in their tracks. They would taste them and say, wow. Like every time I hear the word wow, I'm just so excited. So we got such a great response. We decided we wanted to take this and grow the company. So we moved into Catapult in August and started getting into the wholesale market. We've brought to you for you today some samples of all of our current flavors and nut varieties, as well as a sampling of our packaging. We currently offer almonds, roasted almonds, cashews, and pecans. And traditional flavors like sweet and salty and cinnamon, as well as some signature flavors like our, the gator nuts are a savory that are made with Everglades seasoning. The slap nuts are made with Slap Your Mama seasoning, and the Afterburn and Fire in the Hole are a little spicier, and those are made with a seasoning called Sunburn. The Fire in the Hole has a little extra cayenne, so watch that one. We have a very high quality roasting machine that really consistently, perfectly coats the nuts with our signature flavors and recipes. So the unique flavors gives us the ability to partner with seasoning companies and other things that we can use some of their brand recognition as we are partnering with them to create some unique flavors that are kind of unexpected. The production process is fairly simple and is easily trainable, so very scalable. And the shelf life of the product is up to 12 months. So that's really good for our retailers that we've been talking to. We have a pretty diverse range of potential customers because, as we said, we started out in festivals, markets, and other events, and then we now are venturing into the wholesale, and it works really well in breweries, coffee shops, and specialty retail shops. So that gives us a wide variety of places that we can sell to, as well as the private labeling and corporate gifting, anything we can customize for people with their flavors they want to do to add to their product line can be something really good. And then we do sell on our website through our e-commerce. Our goals for 2024 is that we would like to fully staff the kitchen and shipping with people that will help us to pull back from that and be able to really scale and grow the company through expanding our distribution channels and our product line. Our marketing and growth strategy for the wholesale and private labeling has basically started out with a lot of email, social media messaging, phone calls, and even just showing up at places and trying to get an in-person tasting. Once they get them in front of them, again, they really love the being able to sample and taste them. We also do mail samples out to people that aren't close to us so they can see that. Two of our places that we have this has worked for is Descent Craft Brewing. We will be launching there pretty soon here in Lakeland. And we also, Everglades Seasoning, when we first started, I called them and said, I made something with your seasoning. I just want to come bring it to you. And they loved it so much. We are now going to be private labeling and they're going to be selling them through their distribution channels. So we're really excited about that. For retail, we will continue to do the festivals and events. It's great for brand recognition and getting our name out there. It's really worked in Highlands County, especially with the Everglades there. People the seasoning is in Sebring and they kind of really have gotten to know us over there. And then we will be enhancing our online presence and starting a Nut of the Month subscription model with a lot of our new flavors. Currently, Anthony and I are both working in this part-time, and we also hire some people part-time for packaging and different events that we have. And we began in Catapult in August and currently have an outdoor setup because of our propane tank. We could not bring it inside of the kitchen. Currently, since August when we started, we have 12 wholesale accounts and 1 private label with a couple of others in progress testing. Our problem right now is The outside setup. We had to get a temporary approval just until we could try to figure out with the machine how we can get it inside. We've exhausted all efforts trying to convert that to natural gas, and it wasn't able to be done. So the setup and tear down time, weather issues, the intense heat plus the heat of the machine makes it unbearable in that little 10 by 10 tent. My husband can attest to that. He's the roaster. And then the longer cooling process. We can't take every tray inside as we make them, so it's difficult for that. We are also limited to 3-pound batches with the current machine that we have. The solution for this is to purchase an electric stand-up machine that we've identified that would triple our capacity to 10 pounds per batch in the same amount of time. The purchase price of this is $15,461.02, and we are applying for $10,000 to go towards the purchase of this. The impact of this is it would immediately eliminate all the setup and tear down expense and time. It would decrease the cost per bag by about 9%, and it would give us a tremendous increase in capacity with the same batch time of 15 minutes would go from 3 to 9 to 10 pounds. So we would have 3 times the revenue potential. The long term would be increased sales, obviously, because we will have more time to be able to focus on the sales, brand and recognition, and eventually we will have to have a manufacturing facility. Winston Churchill said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." So it will be very important to us to not only, we have gotten a lot of laughs and when we say we own a nut company, and people sometimes say we've gone nuts, but in all seriousness, it's been life-changing for us, and we really want to use this to fulfill our purpose, and we will give back to the community and to the fund. I want to thank you so much for your time, and we're excited to answer any questions you have, and we invite you to follow our journey and go slap nuts with us. They're too busy eating nuts.
Well, I think you're selling yourself a little short on the production and how much it will quantify for you. Talk about what you talked about earlier with how much that actually could generate in revenue based on days of the week and hours in the day.
Yes, so we figured out, with the machine that we're doing right now, the return on investment, if you just take what we can do and basically 3 times that, it was a return on investment of like 3,500%, because just working 5 days a week, 7 hours a day, and just the additional capacity in the actual roasting, literally doing nothing more but just a bigger bowl.
Well, first of all, they're fantastic, all the ones I've tried so far. Is there any, with your Everglades relationship, is that a contractual relationship, or what are the risks there if they decide all of a sudden, hey, they came up with a really great idea, we're going to go ahead and do this?
So thankfully, they have said they can't do anything with nuts in their factory because of the allergen type stuff. So everything has to be packaged, and, and our process and the machine and everything. I mean, obviously, there are companies out there that do this if they decided. Right now, our agreement with them is just, we are packaging. He did not indicate in any way he was interested in becoming a nut company. It just adds a whole layer to them, especially with the allergen stuff. So.
Sure. Okay. Good.
All right. Well, now we've heard from our 5 finalists. At this time, Kristen will escort our judges into the other room, and they can have a few minutes, just a few minutes, gentlemen, to deliberate and decide which one of our founders is going to be the recipient of this micro grant. At this time, I would like to invite a representative from each company to grab one of the chairs in the corner and drag it on over here. For all of those in our audience, now is your time. Any questions that you may have for the founders of our companies, we're going to make our founders available to answer those questions. So we'll be with you in just a moment as we reset the room. We get a lot of help here at Catapult, and before we continue on, I just want to say, may I please get a huge round of applause for the staff of Catapult who helped make tonight possible. Brett, who's ducking out right now, Elena, Cami, Juan Carlos, Michelle, thank you so much. Allie, our intern, thank you so much for everything. So, and of course, Maggie. Maggie is a tremendous help to the success of this evening, and I just have to say a huge thank you once again for helping out. And Maggie is going to take over for the Q&A. So here we are. Thanks, Maggie.
Thank you so much. We're so grateful for each one of you in the room here for showing up tonight, spending your evening with us. It means so much to have the support of the Lakeland community. We think that Lakeland is a great place to do business because of the customers who are here and because of the people who live here who want to support these local businesses. So thank you so much for being here. Tonight, we are going to just open the floor to your questions. Christian and Allie will be running around with a microphone, but since I'm the first one with the microphone, I'm going to ask the very first question. So tonight, we're just going to go down the line and say how us as the Lakeland community, how can we support your business? All right, I'm going to have you go first.
One, I just want to say it's great to be in Lakeland. I'm from Charleston initially, and there's nothing like Catapult there. This is just so nice to be in an area that's so supportive of local business. And honestly, I mean, the idea is just, let's just keep doing events like this. Let's keep that kind of constant push for entrepreneurship in the area, because it's kind of what got us going. And I really appreciate that.
I would say for us, definitely like social media following and those things, just getting the word out about our company. I mean, we're fairly new. So, and any kind of partnerships or seasonings or any kind of retail shops that you know of that would be interested, hooking us up with those, that's huge. We really want to plant ourselves here in Lakeland and get a good foundation of stores here and places carrying our product.
Just what Erica said is following everybody on social media and sharing the word is huge, but also like turning up at the events. So like the community is the biggest part that propels any of our businesses. So coming out to like local markets and just saying hi and introducing yourself is a lot.
Yeah, again, looking to see what you can buy local, and then on social media, even if it's something that maybe you're not going to buy, but you'd share it and you think, you know what, I know someone who would like this thing, and share it with them is huge.
Well, I don't know what to say, because you're right. Sharing and spreading the word creates awareness, it creates recognition, it creates visibility. And as small entrepreneurs, we are all looking to spread the word, and we don't know every circle that you guys are all connected to, but if we bring it together, then we could connect our rings. And just as you support us, we're able to support you the same way.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone. Who would like to start us off with our first audience question? All right, in the front. Go ahead.
Oh, it's on? This is for the Swan City Ceramics Company. Does the subscription service mean that you have plans to become a publicly traded company, with this constant stream of revenue looking good to investors? Or is there no correlation with that?
At the moment, there's no correlation with that, but it wouldn't be out of the question. We're open for expansion. So in the future, publicly traded company would be amazing.
All right, Jillian.
I also had a question for Jessica. First of all, and to everyone, phenomenal products. Congratulations on the growth of your business. It's great to see you all here. For Jessica, for you, I wasn't clear, are your products custom made? And if they are, and even still with the scaling, should you get this funding, how will you manage the inventory?
Great question. We do both. We do wholesale markets, our standard inventory, and custom-made products. So right now, our website is set up so you can buy any product that we have available in any color and then ask us to custom make it for you. And that would be no problem at all for us to scale that up, especially if we were to get a new kiln, we could make all the inventory that we already do and the custom items. So often when somebody asks for a custom, we make more than one. So in that case, if something happens, it's fine, but then we also have an additional product and we could take it to a market, so there's no waste.
Awesome. Any other questions?
I don't know how to pronounce your last name, I'm sorry. But for the furniture and design, are you taking a lot of inspiration from like ancient Japanese architects? I saw that you were, doing like screwless and nailless, combinations. I was wondering what your inspiration for that was.
Yes. So as I got started in this, I ended up studying how things were made in different regions and different eras. And the two things that really stood out to me was kind of the creative, the bold creativity in the mid-century movement, and then everything about the craft in traditional Japanese architecture, how they would build an 80-foot structure without using a nail or a screw or hardware. And that was definitely influential in the designs.
We have another question back here.
This one is for Rakashaka Prince. What is the advantage of live screen printing at events versus bringing in product to that event? And at the events, do you offer any customization, like preparing screens in advance for that specific event? Like I can get a different color or title on top of my screen print.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the customization part, we can throw pretty much any kind of color ink on whatever the design is. That's why it's super important that we get those screens preset. At the events, frankly, we kind of let that up to the event host. We have our own merchandise, obviously, we like to sell, but the goal is to kind of promote whatever that brand is for them. If that's a festival, if it's a local organization, but whatever their designs they want to put out, that's kind of what we're looking at.
I have a question for Ken. So I'm a big social media guy, so I was looking up everybody's accounts. I saw that there's two different accounts for Plates on Deck. One is Plates on Deck and one's My Plates on Deck.
Yes.
And upon further investigation, everything appears to be the exact same as far as like bios, information, that kind of stuff. I'm just curious as to what's the difference between the accounts and how are you utilizing them effectively?
Yes. Thanks for deep diving into who we are. I appreciate that. Hopefully you hit that follow button on both pages. It originally started, Plates on Deck was our New York page where we started. And when we transitioned down to Florida, we weren't sure if we were going to keep both locations open. So the My Plates on Deck was actually My Plates on Deck Florida. And once we made the decision to just stay home here in Florida, we went ahead and just erased the New York page without losing the following.
Yes, it's me and two employees, and we have an intern who just started as well. And I work with Heather, who is constantly pushing like the business in like new ideas in front of new markets. Also helps with the design, just kind of the business and operations and all of that. And then we have a woodworker who is in the shop doing a lot of the production, building up to kind of the very final details that I'm like always going to be involved in those. We do. Heather has done so much of that. I'm not very good at it.
So I think I have a question that we're all interested in. I think if we go through, we've heard how Plates on Deck got their name, obviously Robert, so forth and so on. How did we come about Raka Shaka? And what's up with the cats?
So that's a great question. Raka Shaka is actually kind of like a play on words. So you probably know like the Shaka sign like this. Our goal was just be like a nonchalant screen printer that's just there for whatever your custom apparel needs is. And the cats, I can't speak to that. That's actually mostly my partner in crime over there. But he's actually got several different things. We do cats. He's got some demon art as well. And there's just a wide variety there. But I'll let him speak to you about that.
All right. Any other questions before we wrap up? Steve, do you got one for us?
So our journey with Catapult started one day when my husband and I had a date night for 4th of July fireworks. And we were just walking along there, not this past year, but the year before, and just happened to see the market there. So we walked inside and we're like, oh, well, let's take a tour. So we took a tour and we love business. We love manufacturing. We love all things business and fell in love with it. So that was, last July. And so when it came time for us to say, okay, how are we going to do this? We don't want to build a kitchen. And we started researching. Catapult was absolutely a no-brainer. I mean, not only is the cost of, a huge part of it, but the resources and the people, like every person we interact with is amazing. Every staff person, they're so willing to help. And even the people within the community here, there's a gentleman here that I was speaking to one day, gave him some samples of our nuts, and he's immediately, oh my gosh, I can cook you up with this person and this person. Everybody just wants to connect you with someone for you to be successful. So absolutely, hands down, best decision we made for this. So actually, I moved to Florida from Michigan when I was 9, and I live in Bowling Green, which is not too far from here. So yeah, the big city of Bowling Green, Florida, not Bowling Green, Ohio or Kentucky or any of those big ones. But we do travel up here. We have a piece of property there that we live. But I've spent my whole life coming to Lakeland for the movies or for anything. I worked here for a little while as a CPA. So this is our second place when we have to get out of this town to do something, eat in a restaurant that we don't have, whatever. I've seen a huge change in the community even since I was here younger. When I was working here, it's just a really vibrant place. We've gone to the food truck nights here, and I mean, just everything. It's really, and just supportive people. So, and my husband, he grew up in Wauchula there, so he was born here. I think he was actually born in Lakeland, I think. So.
Okay. Well, I think that Catapult also, like Erica, was a no-brainer after working in or having one license in a commissary out in Orlando, and they pretty much offer a kitchen and time and space without actually working to develop the business concept and helping, period, just helping. Catapult has amazing experts in residence that we've taken time to meet with that have really helped us get our ducks in order and really prepare to scale up to the next level. And then when you talk about Elena and Maggie and Kristen and everyone who goes above and beyond what their title may be, just because they want to see us win as business owners, whether it's in the kitchen space, the maker space, or up here in the office space.
For me, for the first couple years, I made everything out of that little workshop on my property, like underpowered equipment, undersized space. When I heard about the maker space opening here, initially, I came out here thinking it was just going to be for the equipment and the space and the upgrade and the production ability. But then since I've got here, I ended up finding out that as valuable as that is, that hasn't been the most valuable part. It's been the relationships and the connections and the resources. And I don't know how many times I've been working alongside another business owner or entrepreneur, and either they're working through something that I'd been trying to figure out, and now I see it from them, or I see them working through a problem that I didn't even realize was a problem, but I was doing the same thing. And so being able to learn from these other entrepreneurs, and then with all of the connections that I've made since I've been here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I'm just going to save Mateo and Jessica here. They are wonderful. All right. Good luck in there, Robert. Mateo and Jessica are a part of Pitch Night, but they do not work out of Catapult. So we're thrilled that this opportunity is not just available to Catapult members, but to anyone who has a business in Lakeland. So this is a program that we get to host twice a year. So we'll be back in the spring with a whole nother set of folks from Catapult and from around the community. So at this point, all right, Steve, you got another question?
So it's based on watch hours and also subscribers. So it's 1,000 subscriber minimum and 4,000 watch hours. So we're at about 400 subscribers and then over halfway on the watch hours. So it's just a matter of time. And currently we're going into like a live stream setup, which once we start our show, it'll increase our digital content. So we'll have one show and then 2 videos from that and then 5 shorts from that. And every week be putting out more content for people to enjoy, and then it'll grow our viewers faster. Great. Mhm. It's a good question. We post, oh yeah, he said, what type of content and length of videos have we been posting up until now? It's been about 10 to 30 minutes, depending on the video. Mostly shorts, since shorts came out and they're so popular. But it's been tutorial videos on how we throw our products. Because a lot of times people at markets will see them and be like, how did you make this? Or other potters will be very interested in what we're making. And we find out that even if you're not a potter or don't know much about clay, it's really interesting just to watch the process. So between Nick and I, we have this idea of creating a show that's interactive and everybody can enjoy it and have kind of like a Bob Ross twist onto it. And it'll be really cool. We stream on YouTube, but we're working on doing multiple platforms. So possibly, is it like Facebook and Kick and Rumble, Twitch, Twitter? TikTok's very popular, but it's not a part of our American mission. So we're going to stay with as much American-made products as possible.
Jessica,
Thank you, Jessica.
can I see you for a second? It's like being called to the principal's office.
Can you please send Jessica to the principal's office?
Jillian, Allie's coming to you with the microphone.
I have a question for Erica. So knowing how much of a role scent often plays in food decisions, even if you get this new equipment, is there still a plan to have a mobile unit where you can roast nuts at events so it draws people in?
So we actually can take the current machine that we have and use that at events. And we probably will do that. It just adds a layer of complexity with cleaning and doing those things. And it's a long cooling process. So it does kind of add some complications. We've opted to take a little bit of a simpler route and take only prepackaged, but there will be times that we can now take that machine and use it out because you're right. the fragrance, and I think we will sell more. It's just been we were starting a little simpler in the beginning.
For Rakashaka, yes. So I believe I understand everybody's dream goal, brick and mortar, gallery space. What is the dream goal for Rakashaka? What do you see as the end game for your company?
So it's actually a little different than the art side of things. I have a real estate background, and ideally, kind of similar to the Catapult setup here, I want to have a kind of strip center, if you will, all based on art retailers, whether it's embroidery, screen printing, every kind of facet of that, because that's kind of the issue with these guys. We're all spread across the city, the county, whatever, and it kind of kills the business in a sense because people are traveling all over the place. But if we have one specific place to do that, it's going to draw a lot more business together, but also it's a lot easier for those businesses to continue their business without having to worry with the competitors there.
Awesome. Okay, at this time, we're going to go ahead and wind down our Q&A. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. As we wind down, we're going to go ahead and clear these chairs, stack them back in the corner, and then I'm going to turn it over to IKEA from Entrepreneur Speaks to talk a little bit about an upcoming event. So thank you all so much for your time and your attention. We're going to go ahead and make this transition.
Thank you, everybody. I'd like to introduce you to IKEA Wallace from Entrepreneur Speaks. Thank you.
Hello, how's everybody today? All right, so how many of you have had an easy journey as an entrepreneur? Okay, I didn't see any hands. So my name is IKEA Wallace. I am the CEO of Paradigm Consulting and Financial Services, and I'm here to speak on behalf of Entrepreneur Speaks. Entrepreneur Speaks started about a year ago in Tampa, and it's an opportunity that is different than anything else that I have been involved in. I've had the opportunity to have a magical, chaotic, amazing journey in my entrepreneurship. I've been able to work with names like Moffitt Cancer Center, local names like EHS Construction, and several others throughout the country and internationally. So I've been blessed, but that doesn't mean that the journey was easy. Entrepreneur Speaks allows you to come in and hear the stories that you don't hear when people are successful. You only see the success, right? You don't see the time that they went through to get to the success. So that's why Entrepreneur Speaks was created. So now we give you the opportunity to see you're not the only person that went through that crazy thing as you were building your business. We want to invite each of you to either come and speak with us. It's 12 minutes, 5 minutes for people to ask questions. It allows you to get your business out there. People know who you are, but it also allows you to tell that story that got you to the success that you were going for. So we are so grateful and so thankful to Catapult and several others that have been sponsors to make sure that we can bring this to the Lakeland area since we had such a success in Tampa. So we hope to see you guys on November 16th at 3:30 p.m. right here at Catapult, and hopefully for the next few months when we're having the Entrepreneur Speaks program. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak, Christian, and thank you so much to Kristen Strawbridge for making sure Entrepreneur Speaks came here to Lakeland. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you, IKEA Wallace, everybody. Thank you very much. I just poked my head in, and it looks like our judges are still deliberating and still writing out that big old check. So we'll be back in just a few moments. So stick around for the conclusion of our launch pitch night micro grant. We'll be with you in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please take your seats so we can reach the conclusion of our launch pitch night event. Our launch pitch night event is coming to a conclusion, so please take your seats as the judges re-enter the room to make their announcement on the micro grant funding.
Standing up with her.
Oh, we are?
Nice defense. All right. Thank you all for hanging out. I know we have one exciting announcement that's what you're waiting for. So my one job and hope in spending time with the judges is so that they like me enough that by the end of this time, they will be the ones to make the funding announcement. But they told me since they asked all the questions, they were making me do it. So here we are. Okay, so I'm just gonna go person by person, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're excited about and then what we're gonna do funding-wise. So can anyone remind me who was first? Plates on deck. How could I forget? So judges are really excited about y'all's growth. We love that you're here in Lakeland. We love the story of your family and what you're doing and what you're growing, and we want you to be able to meet more of that capacity. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna go ahead and fund the grill and the generator so that you can keep growing and keep getting after it. Give it up for them. You all are so cute. Okay, next, who was second? All right, Swan City. It was nice to meet you guys tonight. Never met you before. So something that was really exciting that we did not know about is for us to learn kind of about what's going on with kilns in Lakeland. I didn't know there was something going on with kilns in Lakeland. And so it's an amazing service that it sounds like the Polk Museum of Art offers for people to go and fire pottery there. But since they're going to be remodeling, people aren't going to have access to that soon. And so what we want to be as Catapult is a place that creates opportunity, that steps in when there's a need. So Catapult is going to work with Swan City Ceramics to purchase a kiln for ceramics that will be here in Catapult that everybody in the community can have access to, and hopefully we'll see them and other pottery businesses using it in the future. And the launch fund is going to fund the rest of their ask. So congratulations. I can already see Taylor Ard thinking about how she's going to start a pottery business. Added to each of these. Let's go. All right, who was third? Robert. Okay, yeah, I've heard of him. So Robert Berganza, he's a Catapult member. He has been really involved in a lot of programming we're doing here. He's been a part of, I don't know where you are. I'm scanning the whole room. Oh, hey, you blend in with the wall. So basically, we've started a Makerspace advisory board. He meets with them monthly to talk about the strategy behind his business, what he's trying to do. And he has really gone all in. I mean, you've heard the story of him going from being a detective to now being all into this business, and he's a super valued member of this community. And so as we heard Robert talking, we thought, why the heck doesn't Catapult also just buy everything he's asking for so that one day when he wants to move into his own facility, he can come back to the launch grant and get the woodworking stuff that he's using down there to purchase for himself. So Catapult's going to fund all of that. Basically, we brought him in and we were like, is that okay? And he was like, all I want is access to it. So whoever buys it, I don't care. I'm going to be able to grow a lot. So that's keeping money in the launch fund, and Catapult will be able to purchase that for other people to use as well. So congratulations, Robert. All right. Last and definitely not least, two more. There's two more. Rakashaka Prince. Sorry, it's out of order up there and it's really confusing me. I'm trying to remember so much because no one else wanted to do this. Okay. But I don't have any strong feelings about it. Okay, so Rakashaka Prince, where are you? Oh, hey, purple shirts. Okay, so really love to hear what y'all are doing. Florida Southern students, I went there a time ago. I played women's basketball. I would say the only sport harder than basketball is swimming. So if y'all can do that, you have a lot of work ethic. Congratulations. They would like run Lake Hollingsworth 8 times before 7 a.m. So, and then swim. So we're really excited about what you're doing. Love the live aspect. Love that you're trying this on the side, wanting to start and grow something. We really think you have a lot of passion and excitement for this. And so we are going to fund the dryers and the LED situation because we really want you to stop using whatever it is you're currently using because we think this is the most immediate step for you to continue to grow and iterate on what you're doing. So congratulations, guys. Thanks for participating. You may have heard this before. Last but not least, Heartland Snack Company. So we love that y'all are a part of Catapult. We hate that you're having to do whatever you're doing out in the heat and the rain. And it really seems like you're on a path to growth with Everglades, and all of that is very exciting. And so it was an easy decision for the judges to say, let's give them 10 grand and go get that machine and take this thing to the next level. All right. So come on up and take a picture with the big check, everybody. Congrats. Thank you all for coming. And what were we going to say?
Oh, we're nuts about them.
We're nuts about y'all. All right. Have a good night.
One more round of applause for all of our participants tonight and for our judges and our financial institutions who make tonight possible. And to draw your attention up to the screen, the Joinery, Mr. John Bucklew, who is a Catapult alumni, invites you down to participate in our after party. So get some discounted drinks and beverages at the Joinery now until 9 p.m. $1 off wine, $1 off craft brew, $7 house spirits, and $9 specialty drinks. So we'll see you at the Joinery as we continue the celebration of our micro grant awardees. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for coming.